The European Leaders Summit in Brussels has failed to revive the investor appetite today. The crude prices are trading marginally lower as hopes dim for a crisis solution or resolution at the summit. Right now on your screens, the Brent and the crude prices both have seen a bit of a decline, especially more for Brent, which is just about holding 93, and crude NYMEX, though, has reached above 80 at this point in time in the European markets. Similar story though in the precious metal space as well. Very choppy trades happening there as well, and gold has continued to decline. In the international markets, the gold is trading around or below 1580. That has continued to be a resistance for that commodity. 1568, so around $6 to $7 of a decline coming in the European markets. For more on the outlook of gold, we are now joined by Prithviraj Kothari. He is MD at Riddhi Siddhi Bullion in Mumbai, and he joins us in the studios. Mr. Kothari, hi, welcome to the show. Let's start with the imports figure first. And this year, in the last couple of months, the imports have nearly doubled, declined in sense of double as compared to previous year.
I think from a first quarter and first quarter is almost 50 to 60% drop down, because the duty structure are changed from Jan and then after the budget. And second is the inflation is still too high, and the rupee depreciation is affected. If you see the international market is the bearish tone from all-time high from 1920 to till now today is the 1570. So almost $300, more than $300 down. But in the rupee terms, it's almost all-time high price is still there. So near about all-time high. So it's still the sentiment is the bearish, and there is the no demand. The inflation is too high.
Mr. Kothari, how about the prices, especially in the international markets? We are at 1570 as you pointed out, but markets are working with a figure of below 1500 as well. Do you see that much decline coming in?
I am short term I am a bearish, but in the long term if you see I am the bullish, because if you see now it's a US election in the November, no. So at that time level it should be the strong dollar. But overall if you see I am bullish on the gold. But on downside should be around 1380, maybe possible to touch down. But overall market is a bullish.
How about the Indian markets? What range are you working with for here?
Gold prices in a month for the July month range into 1417, 1530, 1470, and upper side should be around 1690, 1630 and 1690.
Mr. Kothari, while the gold imports in the market have declined quite sharply, and RBI has been making that noise about, or rather there have been rumors and RBI officials have been talking about a possibility of a gold coin sale being banned by the banks, or maybe they'll put a quota there. Is that really a possibility?
I think the governments are too aggressive for the gold ban, or some policy changes is there. Still they are trying to be import figure drop down, maybe around 500 tons. So either they have to stop for ban. If the coin selling is stopped, it's a good decision, because if unnecessary they pay the heavy premium of a gold. Unnecessary because in India is a coin already made from the imported bar, no? So unnecessary they paid 49 bar coin, and the making charges is too high. So it's a good decision taken for ban of a gold coin. And the second thing is for quota system. I think they introduce in the quota system maybe through the DGFT, or maybe the license, those who have import. So anything should be around restricted to 500 to 600 tons.
Okay. So any quota coming in, of course, would be positive for the physical markets or the Indian industry in that sense. But Mr. Kothari, also about silver before we let you go. What range are you working with on that one? Because silver prices have declined 17% in this quarter. What's your sense? Where are the prices headed?
I am bullish in the silver. If you see the silver maybe touch $26 or maybe $25. But overall it's a bullish scenario. If you see the consumption of a silver from the 2030 end to 2040 in the solar power are coming. So it's a huge consumption in the silver and the solar power. So I think silver is a more bullish compared to the gold. But in the rupee depreciation effect in the silver prices, if you see the 26 level and the rupee 57, that the cost should be around 53,000. But overall, if you see compared with the gold, I am more bullish in the silver.
All right, Mr. Kothari, we'll let you go at that. Thank you so much for joining us. So more bullish in silver as far as the precious metals are concerned in comparison with gold, of course. The near term, of course, continues to be choppy. Let's also get in our experts. Shrikant Jha, Managing Director, PJ Commodity Ventures from Chennai, and Vijay Bhamwani joins us in Mumbai. He is CEO, BSPLindia.com. Vijay, let me start with you. And what's your sense in case of precious metal prices? Where do you see them headed?
Well, in the near term, I maintain my view that pressure remains at higher levels, and therefore buying in the future segment seems to be counterproductive as long as the US elections are not done and over with. But over a period of time, say for delivery investors, I think every decline of 3 to 5% remains a buy opportunity, wherein you can add to physical exposure in both gold and silver, slightly more in silver, because silver has not participated as much as gold has in the recent past, and I think there's accumulation going on here in silver. That does not mean it will not decline from here, but I think it's coiling up for a bigger move in the year 2012 towards the fag end of calendar year, or maybe even 2013. So in the absolute near term, talking about levels 26 and a quarter to 26.30 on silver overseas in dollar terms seems to be a critical threshold to watch out for. Should silver start to close below this level, I think the bulls will be on the ropes, and in the absolute near term, their energy will be compromised. It might just dip to the 25 or 25 quarter levels in that case. And revival will come only if silver was to trade above the 27.80 level sustainably. Volumes and open interest both pick up there, as well as staying above 55,200 levels on the MCX with open interest expansion would basically reverse the tide in the absolute near term.
Shrikant, what's your sense? So how are you trading gold, especially ahead of the EU summit when the markets are really choppy, not much volumes in the international markets as well?
I mean, if you just look back maybe a month or so, you found that gold had tried its best to get beyond the 1600 mark and didn't really manage to get beyond that and stay there for that matter. And the decline which was there, it's kind of consolidated and now it's breaking down again. It is weak at this juncture, and though we see numbers like 30,000 in the Indian market, it doesn't really give a true picture of what's actually happening in the international market. So we would look to actually sell into it, and I think even the international markets you would be probably seeing it break that maybe 1560 or maybe even come down to the 1540 levels in the near future. So we'll be selling into gold. And as far as silver is concerned, I think there was a time, I mean, for about a couple of weeks when it was stuck in that 53 to 55,000 levels, and 55 for it to break 55 on the upside, yes, it could be a trend change. You could probably think that it is getting a little bullish now and we could get into it. But it broke 53 on the downside, which I think is a little tricky. So I, for one, would actually be a little bearish on it in the near future.
Shrikant, how about the crude prices? Because on one side there are supply concerns coming in from Iran, where there's a embargo coming in from 1st of July from European Union. The Norway output is 15% down. There has been some supply constraints coming in from US as well. Looking at all of that, do you think there's some support coming in that?
I don't know. I think if you look at crude, you had $82, it broke that. You had $80, it went below that, came down to about 78. What you're seeing now is a small retracement of actually it breaking the 82 levels. Yes, it may come back to 80, it may go back to about 82 or so. But I think, when it broke the 5,000 or 4,800 on MCX as well, which I think translated to that 82 or $80, it was a bearish sign. So unless it manages to again climb back above the $82 level or go beyond the 4,800, only then we could probably look at crude gaining some strength. But as it stands at present, I think it is still bearish, and I think you would probably see it getting resisted at the 80, 82 levels.
Vijay, what's your sense on the base metal prices? Because that's one industrial commodity space which actually does react to most of these data quite fast. What's your sense? What could be happening in this sector, especially ahead of the EU summit?
Manisha, I think what you saw in the last 2 or 3 trading sessions was the weakness that is appearing to be reversed now, although it's too early to say that there are green shoots appearing on the base metals front. For example, in order to turn bullish, copper will have to trade above 425, aluminium will have to trade above 110, lead will have to trade above the 108 level, zinc will have to trade above 106 mark. So, and nickel will have to trade above 950 levels. So, I think it's pretty premature to say that the tide has turned. But there is a pullback rally going on, and typically these pullback rallies can tend to terminate without any kind of an advance warning. So, it can be pretty abrupt. I don't think buying big ticket exposure at this juncture makes any sense. But for the brave-hearted, for the risk lovers, I think buying mini lots of zinc in the June futures at the 101.5 levels with a stop loss of 100.75 and expecting to book profits close to 103.5, 104 levels would make sense. And as I said, this exposure has to be in the mini lots, not in the regular lots, because I don't think conviction levels are still very, very high.
Shrikant, what's your sense? How are you playing this sector today?
As far as copper is concerned, I think some time ago we were talking about it getting even bearish than what we had suggested at that time. I think it broke the 400 levels and we were looking for it to even come down even further. But actually what has happened is this pullback. I think our stops got hit on that one. And even though it's pullback, I agree with Vijay, I don't think that this is really a time to get into copper. What you're probably seeing is just a pullback. And I still think that unless it breaks the 435 levels on the upside, I wouldn't really think of even getting close to even buying anywhere near it. And having said that, if you look at it carefully, the pullback also is only coming back to the same 425 levels and it's just hanging around there. So I think you will see another decline, or for that matter, let's wait for the 435s to break and then we can probably look at it again.